The man's tongue was tightly clamped by a metal clip, hanging in the middle of the railway tracks. In the distance, a subway was speeding toward him at 200 kilometers per hour. His only hope of survival was to bite through his tongue within 10 seconds, but as soon as he gently pulled, the pain made his whole body twitch. The fear in his instinct made it impossible for him to make a decision. Soon, the man was shattered into pieces by the train. On the other side, the man's 10 fingers were also locked down. If he didn't escape before the water rose to the level of the power lines, he would be electrocuted by 100,000 volts. But to escape, he had to bite down on a switch in his mouth and activate the machine to sever his 10 fingers. At that moment, a killer appeared on the screen. It turned out that when the man was a detective, he had shot and killed a driver simply because the driver was slightly uncooperative. So, the killer said that the man had to trade his 10 fingers for a chance to survive. The intense pain from his fingers being severed was unbearable. He still hadn't completed cutting off his fingers when he was electrocuted to death by the 100,000 volt current. Afterward, the killer sent the video to the police department, letting everyone learn the lesson. Soon, the sheriff led a team to track the address. But unexpectedly, this police officer had a direct encounter with the masked killer. When she tried to go out for help, the door suddenly closed. Mist began to fill the room, and the officer fainted. When she woke up again, she was tightly bound, and a cloth was over her face. The killer left a recording, saying that hot wax would keep flowing from the pipe for 90 seconds. The officer had to cut through her spinal cord with a blade under her neck to move her head away. Otherwise, the cooling wax would bury her alive. 2 hours later, her colleagues found Mary in the basement. She had been completely covered in wax and her head was unrecognizable. The sheriff was furious after seeing his team member's tragic death. But while escaping, he was ambushed by the killer. When he woke up, he found himself locked to a pipe. On the ground was a rusty steel saw. Just as he was about to cut off the handcuffs, he noticed a metal hairpin in the crack of the wall. He tried and managed to open the handcuffs with the hairpin. As he walked out of the hallway, the sheriff saw the deputy sheriff hanging in midair. The recorder around his neck played a mechanical voice, saying that countless sharp fragments would come from all sides. This was because the deputy had once cut a cat into 36 pieces at home. Soon, alarms went off, and the conveyor belt sent glass bottles into the crusher. The flying glass shards were like arrows shooting at him. The sheriff quickly hid to the side. In the end, the deputy sheriff was killed by the flying glass fragments.